Okay, so I think we've given enough time for participants to join. I think we have a lot of content we want to cover today, so it's best if we get started. We have a lot of exciting information to share with you. So welcome to the soft launch of Trinity's E3 Initiative undergraduate programs. You're going to learn all about what the E3 Initiative is and what our undergraduate programs are in this session. My name is Kim Boyle and I'm the Region Manager for Southeast Asia and Oceania at Trinity. And I'd like to welcome my colleague Melanie May from the E3 Recruitment and Admissions Office, Dr. Jonathan Jukes, Director of Undergraduate Teaching and Learning at the School of Computer Science and Statistics in the college, Ms. Evelyn Poe from Malaysia, who is in her final year of her BA in Computer Science, and Mr. Dale Chen, who has recently graduated in 2019 with a Master's and Bachelor in Engineering. So Melanie, if you could just move on to the first slide. So this is what we're going to cover today. Dr. Jukes is going to introduce us to the E3 concept and what it means, our new facilities that we're developing and new programs as part of this initiative. Miss Melanie May is going to talk to you about our existing programs in the E3 initiative. We're going to have some conversations with our current student, Everlyn, and our alumni, Dale. And then we're going to talk to you a little bit about new scholarships, the entry requirements and career opportunities based around these programs in this initiative. And we've left some time at the end for an open Q&A. So I thought it would be nice to open maybe with some philosophies of two of our more famous alumni from Trinity, Nobel Prize winner Samuel Beckett, who said the creation of the world did not take place once and for all time, but takes place every day. And then literary giant Jonathan Swift, who is most known for writing the novel Gulliver's Travels, said vision is the art of seeing things invisible. And I think the fact that we're talking about E3 today, multidisciplinary approaches and initiatives, it's nice to open with philosophies from some of our more famous arts graduates. So moving on to the next slide. So I'm happy to start and introduce with Dr. Jukes from our School of Computer Science. He's also the school's Director of Undergraduate Teaching and Learning and Assistant Professor in the school. He's responsible for the delivery and development of undergraduate programs. His interests span distributed and embedded systems, computer architecture, and the Internet of Things. Other interests include education and curriculum development. Dr. Jukes is important to this session today as he was a key player in the development of the E3 undergraduate program, so is a key expert in the area of the multidisciplinary approach that we're rolling out over the next number of years. So he's our go-to expert on the initiative. So I'll hand over to you, Dr. Jukes.
That's great. Thanks very much, Kim. You were mentioning Jonathan Swift and Gulliver's Travels there, and there is actually a connection that might surprise people between Gulliver's Travels and computer science that I was telling my first years about the other day. So even though he's very much associated with the arts world, he does have connections to computer science as well. So thank you very much and good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Jukes. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Teaching and Learning in the School of Computer Science and Statistics. I've been involved with the E3 project for the last few years in the context of new educational programs, changes to our existing educational programs, and also the E3 Learning Foundry building, which I'll tell you about today. The E3 concept was born from a realization that future technological advancement would have to be sensitive to the effects that it would have on the planet, on its resources, its ecosystems, and on human society. Conversely, though, addressing the enormous challenges that we face as a society to counteract the negative impact that our way of living has had on the planet is going to demand innovative technological solutions. So Trinity has set out to do something ambitious and groundbreaking that reflects this symbiotic relationship that exists between technology, human society, and the natural world. I might ask Melanie just to move on to the next slide. So E3 stands for Engineering, Environment, and Emerging Technologies. It brings together the study of those three areas, including a study of innovations arising from computer science and from data science. The scope of E3, though, isn't confined just to education or to research, but rather it spans all of our activities as a university and it tries to break down the barriers between education and research. So we very much think of E3 as being a continuum that begins with our freshman undergraduate curriculum, continues all the way through our undergraduate curriculum, through our postgraduate curriculum, postgraduate studies by research, all the way through to multi-million euro research projects. Every stage of education and research, we feel, has an important role to play in developing better balanced solutions for a better world. In the next slide, we're going to look at a short video where some of my colleagues are going to explain what E3 means to them. I will also get to see some images of the Learning Foundry building, which I'll tell you more about in a moment.
We have an obligation as a third level research institution to respond to what are the social, climatic, environmental, energy crises in which the world finds itself. Human activity is causing catastrophic changes in our planet, and the real big tipping point is about 2050. So the graduates that come out of Trinity in the next 5 years are the people that will have to contribute to the solutions to these problems, and we're going to do it through E3.
E3 is a multidisciplinary program, and multidisciplinary programs are greater than the sum of their parts. The E3 project is taking students beyond the traditional area of science of discovery and moving us towards the science of engagement and collaboration.
E3 stands for a merging of environmental science, engineering, and computer science and statistics. It's a conceptual, philosophical transformation of the way in which science is taught in Trinity at the moment.
The E3 Norton Learning Foundry will provide a space where all of this can happen with the suitable equipment and facilities for students to really enjoy themselves while they learn.
That has really innovative spatial design features, including design labs and interactive spaces, which merge the IT and computer needs of computer science with the wet lab, microscopes, etc., of the natural scientists, all the way through to the high-ceilinged areas for mechanical, civil, and scaling up prototypes of materials, robots, etc., for engineering.
It is very exciting to be involved in this new development where we allow our students to really learn and to work with and meet with and interact with people with a different discipline. I think some of the most interesting learning happens in the university when you cross disciplines.
Success for the Foundry would be that people walking past would stop and look and recognise that there's something different going on in there, and they'd be curious. They'd want to go in, they'd want to see, and it's not just the architecture, which is a part of it, but it's actually the activity that's going on there.
E3 can be a real driver for change in society. I think the graduates that will come out of the E3 Learning Foundry will be much more attuned to the ways in which their skills and training will be able to address the challenges the world faces, climate change, sustainability challenges, and many others. And I think it's a very exciting time.
So the E3 project brings together 3 of Trinity's schools: the School of Engineering, the School of Computer Science and Statistics, and the School of Natural Science. And natural science encompasses geography, geology, botany, and zoology. So while the links between computer science and engineering are very familiar to us, linking those 2 schools with natural science and with those other areas is actually quite groundbreaking and will allow us to investigate different things. Okay, I'll ask Melanie to move on to the next slide, if we could. I want to tell you a little bit about the Martin Naughton E3 Learning Foundry, and you saw some images of the Learning Foundry during that video. Making radical changes to the way that we teach requires innovative educational facilities. More than that, though, Trinity really wanted to provide a tangible focal point for the E3 educational philosophy, and the Learning Foundry gives us that. The Learning Foundry has been conceived as a space that will challenge us to teach in new and innovative ways, and it will emphasize things like teamwork, innovation, collaboration, entrepreneurship, and project work. Can I get Melanie to move on to the next slide, please? So in the Learning Foundry, you'll find multiple small group meeting rooms for students, informal breakout spaces, and rooms that can be configured for different styles of teaching and engagement from one hour to the next. It's equipped with state-of-the-art multimedia facilities that students will have access to as well. You'll be able to walk from a greenhouse to an engineering workshop, to an electronics lab, to a computer room, to a maker space, to a chemistry lab, to a multimedia stage, and to a student kitchenette, all within the same building. And it's bringing all of those things together under one roof that really makes this an innovative new building. Students will also be able to see exposed building structures. They'll be able to access live raw data describing the building services and systems, because the building itself has been designed as a living laboratory. What you won't find in the building are lots of large lecture theatres. If the past year has shown us one thing, it's that we have enough large lecture theatres, and we can deliver large lectures to lots of students more effectively in different ways. You also won't find academic staff offices in the building. This is a building that's been designed from the ground up for students. Could I go on to the next slide, please, Melanie? So to finish off, what I'd like to do is tell you about two of the new undergraduate degree programs that we've introduced as part of the E3 concept and E3 initiative. The first one of these is a new undergraduate degree in environmental science and engineering. And one of the interesting things about this degree program is that it allows students to study for 4 years to honours bachelor's level, or to study for a 5th year as part of an integrated master's year, leaving with a postgraduate degree. The first 2 years of this program, years 1 and 2, are common to all students studying environmental science and engineering, and students will study both of those subjects in roughly equal measure. When students move into year 3 of the program, they can choose to follow one of 2 different pathways. The first one of these, shown on the top here, is a specialised stream in environmental science. And the second pathway that students can choose to follow, shown on the bottom of the slide here, is a specialised stream in environmental engineering. The top stream on environmental science will lead students through to a master's degree in applied environmental science, and the bottom stream will lead students through to what we call an MAI degree in engineering. MAI is really just Latin for masters in engineering. So throughout those final 3 years, students will study specialised topics in their chosen stream. In year 4, students will have an opportunity to engage either in an industry internship or an international exchange in environmental science, or complete a capstone project by staying here in the university and working one-on-one with a member of our academic staff. And they'll also complete some additional taught modules in their chosen specialisation. Moving on to year 5 then, the Masters in Environmental Science stream will have further study of specialised topics in environmental science, and students will complete a substantial master's research project leading to the submission of a dissertation. Similarly then, for students studying environmental engineering, shown on the bottom of this slide, again in year 4, students have the opportunity to engage in either an industry internship or an international exchange, or to complete a capstone project. And then similarly in year 5, they'll complete a master's dissertation research project, as well as completing further specialised studies in environmental engineering. So that's our new degree programme in environmental science and engineering, which will have its first intake of students this coming September 2021. The nice thing about this programme is that it introduces some new modules that we haven't taught before, including, for example, a module on engineering for the agricultural environment, environmental impact assessments, and also some really exciting team design modules that students will engage in throughout all 4 of the first years of this program, addressing, for example, global challenges and sustainability. So some nice innovations in that new program. Can we move on to the next slide, please, Melanie? So the second program that we are introducing as part of the E3 initiative this coming September 2021, is the joint honours degree programme in computer science and geography. So the School of Computer Science and Statistics already has a really successful joint honours subject in computer science, currently combined with business. And that's one of the most demanding courses to get into in the university. Attracts very high quality students. Similarly, our colleagues in the School of Natural Science and in geography specifically have a very successful joint honours subject in geography, and specifically human geography rather than geology. So what we've done is combine those two subjects together to allow students to study both subjects, initially studying them in roughly equal measure, but then to choose to concentrate in one subject or the other, or to continue for 4 years studying both subjects in equal measure. This degree program leads to an honours undergraduate bachelor's degree, what we call a BA moderatorship degree in computer science and geography, with students choosing whether to major in computer science or geography or study both subjects equally. It's a slightly unusual combination, but we feel that the novelty of it is actually really relevant to the challenges that we're trying to address through the E3 project, because students will have opportunities to study topics like geographic information systems, smart cities, remote sensing, the Internet of Things, and for example, to develop and model the cities of the future, creating digital twins for future cities, so we can get a really good understanding of what living in a city of the future might be like. That's all I wanted to say on the Learning Foundry and the E3 initiative and our new degree programs, and I'd be happy to take questions at the end along with the other speakers if there are any. So thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. Thank you very much, Jonathan. So moving on to the next slide. So Jonathan mentioned the E3 project. At the moment, we have 3 schools participating in this project: the School of Computer Science and Statistics, Natural Sciences and Engineering. So I'm just going to talk through the 3 schools and the programs available in these schools. So the first school is the School of Computer Science, where Jonathan is the director for undergrad teaching and learning. So the School of Computer Science and Statistics at Trinity is ranked #1 in Ireland and top 100 worldwide. And recently it has just celebrated its 50th anniversary. The school is hosting 2 major research centres, and currently there are over 400 academic research staff and PhD students, and doing and engaging in the research activities we're particularly strong in the areas of artificial intelligence and graphics and vision and software systems and networks and statistics and information systems. The school was the first established computer science department in Ireland. So I think, and also just mention that all these research activities are these are world-class researchers that are doing cutting-edge research and bringing that expertise and knowledge into the classroom. And that is something I think you need to be aware of, you know, when you are considering doing a career, a program in computer science, is that the level of research activities attached to school, just something to be very much aware of. So here are the list of programs that, at undergrad level available at School of Computer Science and Statistics. The first one, the BA Mod Computer Science program, is our classic computer science degree. It focuses on software, on theory, and all the core skills that you will need to become a computer science software engineer, and with the option that you can exit with a 4-year degree or go on to the 5th year and for a master's qualification. A majority of our students choose the 5-year route, and at the second semester of your 4-year study that you have an option to go to choose an internship as a component of your 4th year if you choose the 5-year route.
So the BA in computer science and language, that's 50% in computer science, and you will do do a lot of programming, probably not so much on the hardware or the networking side. And language is the science of language, and so you will you will then much study subject like artificial language and natural languages and machine learning and so on and so forth. And then the BA degree in computer science and business, and that is, like Jonathan mentioned, in collaboration with the business school, where, in the beginning it's a 50% split between computer science and business, and later on then you can choose your focus. It's very much for students who has an interest in more, suppose, on the management and business operation management side of the software industry. And the computer science and geography, it's a new program Jonathan just mentioned that we're very excited about. The BA in management science and information system studies, it's very much the study of science of business, and it's a more statistic driven degree in many sense. So it's very well regarded program, and graduates go on to often working in the likes of Accenture, Deloitte as consultant, who have mathematical and statistical and technical knowledge to advise their clients. So today we have Evelyn here, Evelyn Poe from Malaysia, who is currently doing the computer science 4th year, and I believe she has chosen the 5-year route. So thank you very much for joining us today. I just want to hear a little bit more, from as a student, how are you finding the program and as a student at Trinity? So tell me, so what would you consider most enjoyable when studying the program?
I guess in computer science, there are a lot of collaborative works in projects or assignments. So it's a great opportunity to meet your course mates from your course and to learn from each other that way. Especially in 2nd and 3rd year, we have programming project, a software programming project that we do with real life clients. For example, there's companies like Microsoft and IBM, and we work on a project with them. So it's a great opportunity to gain some industry experience, and also to improve like both the programming skills and also to learn how to work in a developer team.
Great. And do you think are there any elements that you find extremely challenging?
I think in computer science there's a lot to learn, so it's constant learning. So you have to have the aptitude for that, just always learning, always doing like learning new things, new languages, multiple languages in like a year to learn.
Right. Okay. And obviously you have gone through a majority part of your studies pre-COVID, and then the pandemic started, and the style of teaching has moved on to a more blended a way of teaching and learning. And how are you finding that?
I'm actually quite enjoying it. Most of our lectures are recorded online, so it's great for us to like go back again to revise if we have to. Save a lot of time as well, because there is no more commuting, so more time to invest in assignments and projects. Any collaborative projects we have with my course mates, we just have it on Zoom, so I don't feel like we're missing out on much.
And do you feel you get good support from the academic staff?
Yeah, it's like the lecturers reply really quickly. Emails, they're constantly updating like the Blackboard, the page that we have for assignments and all that kind of stuff.
Great, great. And so I understand that you've chosen the 5-year route. And obviously, second semester in year 4, there is opportunity to take on the internship. So how are you getting on there? Have you secured an internship opportunity?
Yeah, so about a month ago, we started applications for internships for my next semester in 4th year. So the college have career services where they help us with a CV clinic, like to help us review our resumes before we submit job applications. And then the college helped this meet and greet event, a virtual meet and greet event with where we can book slots with multiple hiring companies. So I met with, during the event last month, I met with multiple companies where I was invited later on to interview with them. And actually a week from the event and the interviews, I actually got a placement with Rapid7. It's a company that makes software for cybersecurity.
Congratulations. It's very encouraging hearing so much, I suppose, positive experience, and I'm wishing you the very best of luck in your studies. So now moving on to the next slide. So I just want to talk a little bit more on School of Natural Sciences, and the school pretty much covers all aspects of the natural world, from the formation of the earth, the behavior of environment, the evolution and ecology of its organism and its interactions with human society. Like Jonathan mentioned early on, the natural sciences comprises of the disciplines of botany, geography, geology and zoology, and there are 2 large research centres hosted by the school. And one thing to note is the Department of Geography is ranked top 100 worldwide according to the latest QS ranking. So here are our undergraduate programs available from the School of Natural Science. So the geography and geoscience degrees, both are follow the geography and geoscience pathway, but there are 2 programs that, well, one is the direct entry geography and political science, and this year Jonathan mentioned that there is a new program in collaboration with the School of Computer Sciences, the Computer Science and Geography Joint Honours degree that is starting this year. And then moving on to, you can also study zoology, botany and environmental science, which follows the biomedical and biological science pathway. So the first years you will be studying with a large cohort doing the biological and biomedical science. And then year 3 and 4, then you specialized in the area, in the disciplinary area of zoology, botany and environmental science. Just one thing to note is that if you choose, for example, our geography degree, and there is, and also the neuroscience program, which follows the biomedical and biological science pathway, these 2 degrees from our faculty, you do have an option to choose study 2 years at Trinity, and then the later 2 years to study in our partner university, the Columbia University in the US, but it is very competitive to get an offer in this option, but just to be aware of. So now moving on to the 3rd school that are part of the E3 project, the engineering school. So it's one of the oldest engineering school in Europe and in the world. So established in 1841, so we have 179 years of history in innovation, I suppose, in enhancing technologies and essentially enhancing our society. So the school is ranked in the top 150 in the world, and our programs are accredited by Engineers Ireland, which is a professional body and recognized worldwide. So these are the programs from the engineering school. The first one is our main engineering degree. And the next slides I will go tell you a bit more on the main engineering degree. The engineering with management course, students will study many modules on the engineering side, But I suppose there is a greater emphasis on the management side, and students using scientific tools and statistics to guide management, in particular management to the manufacturing industry. And then Jonathan mentioned the Environmental Science and Engineering program, which again is a very exciting new program that is starting in 2021. So this is a flow chart of our main engineering program. As you can see, the first 2 years are common, and then year 3 you have 6 areas to choose from: the biomedical engineering, civil, structural, environmental engineering. You can choose computer or electronic engineering, or electronic and computer engineering, and mechanical and manufacturing engineering. And students can choose to exit after 4 years of studies, or you can go on to the 5th year for the master's qualification. For those of students who choose the 5-year route, there are 2 options. Number 1 is like the computer science degree that you can choose in the 2nd semester, take up an internship, or you can choose to participate in international exchange or a study in one of our partner universities in Europe or outside of Europe. And then the 5th year, nearly 50% of the time you will be focusing on your research project, which is I suppose you'll be assigned with a supervisor, and it's your projects largely organized through 3 of the department in the school. So that's a nutshell on the 3 schools and the undergraduate programs. So, but I know for international students, when you are, thinking about studying abroad to study, and I think it's important to know what sort of opportunities are out there and your chosen program and chosen area. And here at Trinity, our career service prepare our students from day 1 in your career planning, and by providing a suite of services. And also we provide a lot of networking opportunities. Survey has indicated, and that's just an overall percentage, 95 of our students employed or engaged in future studies within the first 6 months and post-graduation. But I know some of our E3 schools probably have even higher percentage on that graduate data. And also it's important to know that international students coming to Ireland to do a degree, and at undergrad level, that you can get 1 year stay back visa, or if you do complete a master's degree, you can get a 2-year stay back visa. So I mentioned that it's important to understand what sort of opportunities are out there when you're considering your study abroad destination. Here you can see a lot of big names. Ireland is a multinational hub. 9 of the top 10 global ICT companies, 8 of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies, and 15 of the 20 medical device companies, and 50% of the world's leading financial services firms all have their presence here, and majority have their European headquarters in Ireland. Recently, Microsoft announced they're creating additional 200 engineering jobs in Ireland, in Dublin. And besides of that, they're having their, it's called Microsoft Garage. So what is a Microsoft Garage? It's a physical space for Microsoft, creating this innovation. So it's very much a space for innovation. And so Ireland has been chosen as the first location for their European presence to have this Microsoft Garage. And what all that essentially means is this multinational corporations, they understand the high quality of Irish education and the graduates can bring, and also they fully appreciate, aware that there is a well-established ecosystem that can support this growth of technology industry. So when you choose to study in another country, I think it's very important to know what sort of opportunities are out there for you. Here is a map of the Dublin Innovation District. And as you can see here, again, some names. So a lot of the tech giants, multinational companies in this innovation district, and very much Trinity is locating in the center of this district, providing talents and drive research and development. Just so again, proves there are enormous opportunities are out there for our graduates. Now, so today we also have the great pleasure in having a recent graduate from our mechanical engineering program. Dale, are you there?
Yep.
Hi, Dale, how are you?
Hi.
Dale recently graduated from our mechanical engineering program, and it's great to have you here just to share your experience, your highlights from Trinity, and advise and tell us what you're doing. So tell us what has been the highlights from your student life at Trinity.
To be honest, there has been many highlights. A couple of them I mentioned is one of them is the rich range of societies and clubs that's in Trinity, that's open to all students that joins. And when I joined Trinity in first year, I was overwhelmed, but I had my mentor who was looking after me, kind of bringing me to see all the societies and taste them out. And then you decide the society you want to stay and commit to for the rest of the time in Trinity. And there are many societies that can align to your interests and to your cultural background as well. And I kind of really enjoy my time involving in those societies and meeting friends that are outside of my course. And a second highlight I say is probably the internship. And you mentioned the internship that's involved in our course. I had the opportunity actually to be involved in the internship in the summer of my third year. And each summer there are recruiters who will be looking for students who are still in university to join on the internship program. So in my third year, I joined with Glambia, which is an Irish nutrition and food company. And they have many brands and factories around the world. So I joined as an IT graduate, even though coming from an engineering background, but I was able to be involved in the IT department in the company. And it kind of really opened doors and opened up my eyes to see how my skill can be applied in other kind of career paths as well.
Great. When you were in Trinity, were you involved in any extracurricular activities?
Yeah, there was plenty of extracurricular activities, including the society I've mentioned. There's also the tangent space in Trinity, which is an entrepreneur environment where students from all disciplines in the university can come and join and discuss their ideas and also pitch their ideas to the tangent team with the potential possibility of joining the Launchbox program, which happens in the summer months. And I was very lucky to be selected. My team was very lucky to be selected to be involved in the Launchbox program in 2019, the year I graduated. So I had the summer 3 months of being funded by the university and provided an open space for us to work for 3 months on our startup project.
That's amazing. And so tell us what you're doing now.
I'm currently, since September 2019, when I finished the Launchbox program, well, actually, before I finished the Launchbox program, I had gotten offers, multiple offers, 3 offers from the companies I've applied for. And I decided to take an offer job of mechanical engineering with ESB, which is a electricity supply boards in Ireland. And so that is a semi-state, or you can say government company. I'm working as a mechanical engineer, where I'm working on projects which maintains and improve the current electricity asset in the country. So I get to see a lot of the ongoing projects that's happening around the country in Ireland.
That's amazing. And did you mention multiple offers? Wow, that's amazing. And you see, many students are, due to this pandemic, and finding a bit uncertain, in terms of the economic climate, and unsure in terms of the job opportunities. And what do you think, has COVID posed a lot of challenges in this whole, job opportunity area?
Yeah, I can certainly understand how COVID had brought some concerns to graduates and students who are looking to study abroad with the prospective kind of job opportunities. There are some concerns in there, but I think personally from myself, when the pandemic hit, we were immediately moved to working virtually, and as an engineering graduate or coming from engineering background, a lot of our work can be done online, and I'm sure the same can be applied to a lot of the E3 programs graduates who come out from E3 programs from engineering, IT. A lot of work that can actually be done virtually. And personally, I would have known a lot of the current this year's graduates, and they too faced the pandemic, and they were able to kind of throughout the pandemic be able to find jobs that will allow them to work from home and then transition back to working from the office when the pandemic's over.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and very best of luck in your future career, and well done. So now moving on to the next slide. So we have some fantastic news on the scholarship this year. We are introducing a number of, scholarship, E3 scholarship. In particular, I want to highlight the scholarship for the 2 new programs for computer science and geography, and environmental science and engineering. So there is a scholarship that valued at €10,000 for the first year, and then €4,000 for the consecutive years, and as fee waiver. And also there's global excellence scholarships opportunities. So lots of exciting scholarship opportunities available to you. We are now taking applications for all of our E3 programs, including the 2 new programs. Here you can see a list of entry requirements depending on what curriculum that you follow. So some are internationally recognized curriculums, but just bear in mind, we do recognize some local curriculum as well for direct entry, for example, HKDSE and UEC, STMP and Gaokao and Testat. So just, that's not limiting to all the local curriculum, they're just examples. So if you're unsure, go onto our website, and there's a country page you can check, or check in with our regional manager for further information. The language requirement is IELTS 6.5 with all bands at 6 is required. And this year we recognize, we accept Duolingo, 110 is the required English proficiency score. Don't be too disheartened that if your qualification is not recognized, to get in our degree program, or you're not meeting the requirement. We do offer international foundation programs. There are 2 pathways. If you choose to study one of our E3 programs, then pathway B, the science pathway, is your option. And in the past, majority of our foundation students have successfully completed the program and progressed onto their degree. Now, I'm just going to hand you back to Kim for the question section.
Thank you, Melanie, and thanks for all our speakers. I love hearing about the E3 initiative and concept. There's so much information. I feel like I learn something new every time we have a presentation on it. And thanks to our attendees for bearing with us and staying with us for the session. I hope you found it interesting. We did call it the soft launch of our undergraduate programs because normally if we were doing an event like this, we would be out in our regions in the different countries and running nice events, inviting you to attend, having refreshments and guest speakers. And so we hope when things get more back to normal next year, that we can have a more official event in the local countries and be able to meet you face to face. And I really hope and look forward to that and hope it happens soon. So I'm going to move to the Q&A. I can see some questions coming in now, which is great. It's great to see the engagement. I'm going to start with our first question that came in. I think it's a really interesting question. I'm going to put this to Jonathan. Amy has asked, that she couldn't help but notice the emphasis on internship and opportunities, although they sound amazing and the programs are amazing. And the companies, she would argue, are rather detrimental to society and the environment, such as Amazon. So she wants to know, is the school working to establish connections or internships with more ethical companies? And how is the school working to align with the program's goals when it comes to selecting companies for internships? So I think that's a really interesting question to start with.
It's a good question, and it's a really challenging question. And I'd love to say it's been one of our drivers, but it's something that we still need to work on. I think it works both ways. I think, you know, it's up to us to encourage, I suppose, ethically minded companies to offer internships to our students. And certainly that's happening. I think if you look in particular at areas like engineering, where there'd be a lot of companies involved in renewable energy would take on interns, so areas like wind energy and so on. And even in computer science, while I'm not aware of internships, we've had research projects that have been involved in I suppose monitoring things like wind turbines, using drones to fly up around wind turbines and even in between the blades while they're rotating on autopilot to monitor the health of wind turbines. So certainly it's featured in our research. And I think the next step, it's a great question and a great point, is to try to move our internships into that area. I think although, you know, companies like Amazon have a I'd say, you know, a detrimental environmental footprint, in some ways society is increasingly putting pressure on them to try to address that. And it's something that I think we can, as a university, can actually encourage the companies to do. So it's not just about avoiding those companies, it's about sending our E3 graduates or students out into those companies, and then, you know, trying to encourage the companies maybe to move in another direction. And one of the reasons why companies like Amazon do set up in Ireland is because they can draw on the natural sustainable resources that Ireland has to offer. So that's why you'll find lots of data centers in Ireland, with, you know, that they can draw on the excellent wind energy, tide energy, wave energy in Ireland, and then claim to be operating green data centers. But yeah, it's a really good point, and it's something that I think is a challenge for us that we need to address.
Thank you. I think that's a really interesting answer. So it's good to see that some efforts are being put in place to address that. So Samarth asked to share the application timeline, so I can answer that. So applications are open now. We have one intake, which is September 2021 is our next intake. We opened applications on the 3rd of November, and typically our applications are open right up until the 30th of June. We do recommend an early application though, because some programs are popular and competitive. Our decisions are made centrally through our admissions office. It's called Academic Registry, but us here, the team, the E3 team and Global Relations team, are here to advise and assist as well. This year we left our applications open a little bit later to the 31st of July to give people time because of the COVID situation as well. So the next question from Ange, what is the highest package offered by multinational companies? I imagine this is pay packages. So who would be best placed to answer that on the E3 team? Maybe Melanie or Jonathan. Jonathan, you know?
I don't mind. Yeah, I could have a guess, and I suppose it's going back maybe a couple of years, but certainly I've supervised students who, leaving the university, have been offered, I suppose, a starting point of something like €80,000 with, again, a company like Amazon, which we know all about. So those kinds of starting points aren't unusual, but they're probably at the higher end, and I'd say the kind of average package would be a little bit below that. Melanie?
Sorry,
How would that rate internationally? Sorry, go on, Melanie.
Sorry, just to add, there was a survey that I saw. I mean, obviously it depends on the program area and depends. So there's a survey on the engineering program, one of the master's programs that I saw. There is 15% of their graduates have received I suppose a salary range between 50,000 to 70,000, which is, you know, it's not your average offer. You know, I don't want to be giving the wrong indication, but yes, it really depends. I think depends on the individual. Some of our students joining already have some professional experience already, so it really depends on the individual and the program, I suppose.
I can also say that a survey was done a couple of years ago by the Irish Times, their national newspaper, that found that Trinity graduates will earn more than any other Irish graduate from any other Irish institution within the first 5 years of graduating. So Trinity graduates are very much sought after in this space and here in Ireland. And Melanie, if you wouldn't mind putting the scholarship slide back on, one of the participants missed what scholarships we have, so we can have that on in the background while I'm answering the rest of the questions, if that's okay. If you wouldn't mind moving back a little bit. I also wanted to mention about admissions while we were on that space as well, that it's important to note that if you're taking an international curriculum that we accept for direct entry, such as A-levels or IB or one of the many others, that for admissions purposes, the English that you take in your main curriculum can meet the English language requirement as well. You'll still have to meet a minimum, but you may not have to be present with an IELTS or TOEFL or Duolingo for admissions purpose, but you may need to still sit it for visa purposes. So I just wanted to mention that. So Samarth would like to know the difference between the BA Mod Computer Science and the Computer Science and Language course. So I'm going to put that back to Jonathan as well, if that's
sure,
okay.
Yeah. There's a few differences between these two programs, apart from just the subject area. The BA Mod Computer Science program, if you like, our pure computer science program, involves the study of computer science by itself for 4 years, with the option of a 5th year leading to a master's degree in computer science. So that's one of the differences, that optional 5th year leading to master's level. Computer science as a degree program, because you're only studying computer science, you can study more breadth and depth within computer science. So in addition to studying all the subjects that you'd study if you were studying computer science and language, you also study subjects in more specialized areas. And in fact, I think as Melanie said, studying just computer science by itself allows you to get into areas like hardware in particular, computer architecture, telecommunications, computer networks, areas that you possibly wouldn't have an opportunity to get into if you were studying computer science and language, because unfortunately time is finite. So if our students are spending some time studying languages, they have a little bit less time to study computer science. So it's actually a good point, if you don't mind, just to draw attention to the fact that the name of the computer science and language program is changing for new entrants from September 2021 to computer science, linguistics and a language. And that's just to reflect more accurately what the program is. So it's, as Melanie said, about 50% computer science, 25% the study of linguistics or the science of language, both written and spoken, and then 25% the study of one language in particular. And the options to students there are Modern Irish, French or Spanish. It used to be German, but we couldn't timetable that anymore, so it becomes Spanish this year. And then one other thing, we're also introducing from September 2021 the possibility to study computer science with linguistics, where you don't have to study the foreign language as well. So you can enter a joint honours degree program, a bit like computer science and business and computer science and geography, but this time combining computer science with linguistics without studying a language. Again, that's a new degree program that we're offering from 2021. So a nice option for students maybe coming from Southeast Asia who don't want to study French, French, Spanish or Irish, just want to study computer science with linguistics, the science of languages. They can enter that degree program, and again can choose to major in either linguistics or in computer science.
Thank you. It's good to hear more new programs coming on board as well, which is fantastic. So I have a question about from a student applying from Turkey at the end of the year, planning to take IELTS, and what else do they have to do to study in Ireland? So if you're applying directly, you'll have to apply online through our courses website, and you'll have to present with your high school transcripts and meet the minimum grade that we require, meet the minimum subjects we require, such as English, math and another language, and any subject specific requirements for the E3 subjects as well, and then 2 academic references. I'd like to welcome also Ellie and Nora from the E3 team. They work with Melanie, who are here to help with the Q&A as well. I'm not really familiar with applicants from Turkey, so maybe Nora, if there's anything you want to add. Have I missed anything? I know you look after the E3 programs when it comes to the MENA region.
Yes, hi everyone. No, I think Kim, you mentioned everything that is needed to be known for the missions from the MENA region and Turkey as well. So I think the question was related to IELTS. So if you are applying for direct entry, then you need to have IELTS 6.5 with no bands below the 6. And otherwise, I think if you are coming into the foundation program, then the English requirement is 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
that would be it.
Thank you. So the question about applying with AS results, yes, we accept AS along with A levels as well. So you'd be welcome to apply for direct entry with AS. A question from Paul, one of our education partners in Nigeria. So I'm going to ask Ellie to come on here. I think Ellie has been looking after Nigeria. Are there any opportunities for fee installment payments for students? I'm not sure if Ellie's still here. Oh, sorry, Ellie, I didn't have you added as a panelist. But I can answer that anyway, that yes, students are able to pay in installments. Typically it is 2 installments, and but because of the crisis, I think this year students were welcome and allowed to apply to pay their fees at undergraduate and postgraduate level in 3 installments. So how generous is the government in providing scholarships for overseas undergraduate students? We have a national scholarship called the Government of Ireland Scholarship. I would go online and have a look there. And also we have, if you check out the Irish Council for Overseas Students, ICOS I think they're called, and Irish Aid, which is an arm of our Department of Foreign Affairs. They have a number of government or state scholarships available. So if an international student is doing the UK GCSE English and AS level English subjects, does he still need to give separate English proficiency tests? No, so we can accept your English from your GCSE from junior level. You'll have to present with a minimum C in that. But if you're coming from a country that requires a visa to come and study in Ireland, we have a number of countries that are non-visa required, such as the US, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, Japan. We have many countries where you don't need to have a visa to come and study Ireland, but there are many countries that are visa required. And in that case, you may need to have another English test outside of your GCSE for visa purposes. So there's a question, which course do I have to take to become an ethical hacker?
I'm afraid that might be me, but yeah, I guess the most appropriate course is going to be computer science, and pure computer science in particular, because I suppose hacking, ethical or not, requires a full vertical understanding of a computer system, all the way from hardware up through software and networks. So we can certainly teach you all of that in computer science, and you know, we always hope to teach some good ethics along the way as well. So you know, one of the ways that students get exposed to ethics, for example, in the study of computer science, is any student undertaking a final year project in the school is required to report on the ethical implications of their project. Even if it doesn't require ethical approval for anything, we still get students to write up about why it doesn't require ethical approval. And if it does require ethical approval, then students have to go through the same ethics approval process that a researcher in the school would have to go through, where it's you know, what they're doing for their project will be reviewed by a panel. So that's particularly the case if you're hacking, or if you're for example, surveying people, or conducting any kind of experiments that involves people. And there's also courses that students can take in areas like ethics as part of the Trinity Electives initiative, which are modules that are open to students on many of our degree programs, and they're modules that are offered from across the university, including in areas like ethics and religion as well.
Perfect. So I'm going to take this last question because I'm conscious of going over time. Someone has asked about the accommodation types and costs. So we have a number of Trinity approved locations for accommodation. Undergraduate students are guaranteed accommodation in the first year of study at Trinity Hall, which is about 4 kilometers from the main campus. It's located in a really nice suburb of Dublin. It's easily accessed by public transport. Even our Lewis, which is our light rail tram system, stops nearby, and Trinity has its own tram stop right at the entrance to the college as well, so it's very convenient. We have other Trinity approved accommodation dotted around the city. Binary Hub and Cabinet Court are within walking distance, and then we have some limited on-campus accommodation. We're actually in the middle of building a brand new state-of-the-art campus accommodation right in the heart of our city centre campus as well. So our living style is apartment style living with mostly single rooms, some shared rooms as well, with ensuite bathroom and shared living and kitchen area. So for costs, you're looking at anywhere between 6,000 and 7,500 euro for your accommodation. It depends on the type of room and the location that you're put in. We have an accommodation office that you can liaise with directly as well as our global room, which is a dedicated space and resource for our international students. And they can help with any questions around accommodation or visas and immigration. To live in Dublin, just to say as well, that typically you need anywhere between 10,000 and 15,000 euro for an academic year. It really depends on your lifestyle and how cheaply you can live. But just to let you know that you can eat very cheaply on campus and around the campus as well in the city. You will get a lot of student discounts around the city as well when you show your student card. So that's everything. Thank you again for your time and for joining us. Sorry if we went a little bit over, but I think the engagement was fantastic. It was important to get to all the questions. I'd like to thank all our panelists as well for their time and joining us today also. So take care, and please feel free to contact us at the information there provided if you have any questions, any further questions, and we'd be happy to help you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Jonathan.